There's a public figure by the name of Tsekeleke. Very popular, came into fame, and Dr. Malinga promoted his stuff and helped him get gigs and all these things. And he was everywhere, basically. There was a period where you were either seeing Tsekeleke or this other gentleman from Limpopo, I forgot his name. Because, trending figures, they will trend, then they go. And these stories, they create this bedrock of South Africa where people are rooting for people who look like the underdog, right? So people like this type of stories. The underdog, David and Goliath type of a scenario. Mochalaf announced that they were doing a TV show. I had even completely forgotten about it. I think maybe they announced it like a year ago.
Company and nasa le bana ba hae ne le nne a kire ena ga tsamaya go tlo tsamaya nne ke tlo bona go tlo mtlhokomela mma pa le go mtlhokomela ndo simane tlobisa kwana. I
decided to watch a show, an episode after they recommended it on YouTube. So I watched an episode. I'm like, okay, yeah, this guy has it bad. And then you skip over the supposed girlfriend.
Atum nado seksana go hae gare black cat wa tlhokomela ungerla nthengole ngole ngo gare go hae ona ba ona mo than tlhokomela. Abantu bangaleza ona mothatho ntlhokomela
ungaletse ke mang
bo botlho family
ngo ba founela bona ba ka tshwara call o le re lefile tšhelete petrol le a dijo mo tseleng le re nyaka se sengwe gape mara a re ba nyaka eng kan dijo a re ba ona dijo ka montlong o tshwana ka mogabele ne mongwe le mongwe je dijo tsa hae ha e tla ntate o nyoko tereka dijo tsa hae a di
le nna go tsa eng ka ra ke na dijo le nna ke etla mo
Rolo tse ke tsaka ka tšhelete ka e berekelang ke nna for motse wa ka. A re ditse nna ga wena no go Tsekeleke a bereka le rena wa tla mo tlhole go no bona Tsekeleke o berekela eng. Di tsa nna le banna ene le tlo nna pisha ka monna ka. Ko mantja le tlo le sukira ga ge tla kae a le khatsale ntho le khatsalang ke tšhelete fela.
At least one side of your life, should be balancing, should kind of like be communicating in your favor. I think on this episode, you will see why I believe Christians should engage subject matters in the world. Because remember, there is the aspect of salt. Ogufayo gunida usolutu. Needs what's dying? Needs salt. Salt preserves it. It starts to make sense. To have a family like this, oh my, I'd classify myself homeless. I'm telling you, I am homeless tomorrow. I am homeless right now. If this is my family, Now, this is not my family. This is very dangerous. It's very, very dangerous. And even people that kind of like beg, ask for assistance and ask for help, sometimes they too do not understand the tipping scales of what kind of damage it can do. Yes, you need help. And we are sure it's an emergency. And trust me, it is probably very important why you're asking money. But you have no idea the weight that help feels like from a person who you are taking it from. Help requires a lot. Now, I'm talking about genuine help. I'm not talking about, because sometimes we toss around. It's very easy for people to look at what B.I. Pagati does and, just toss it aside and say, yeah, whatever. But think about it. People literally know you for helping people you don't know. That opens a door for all kinds of things. Imagine the amount of messages that man has to read through. Imagine the level of assistant messages which he wish he could do something about, but he can't. The Bible literally says, "Do not be tired of good deeds." So don't be weary about good deeds, because good deeds are tiresome. It's biblical, so that we can. So not everybody is greedy, but there is a tiresome aspect to helping. So don't be weary, don't get tired So a person can do it, and be tired. So you're asking help from someone or whatnot. Pray for that person. Yeah, you pray for that person, because it's a very heavy lifting thing. That's why when Paul speaks, he says, instruct those who are well off, who are rich. He says to continue in their. He literally, it's an instruction. Like he literally puts it there as an instruction. By the way, don't, you're not just to hoard it. You are instructed to keep it going. Keep it up. Okay? Not the Christ Embassy route of giving awards. No, not that. Keep it up, meaning there is that tiring thing where you get tired, but keep it going. Keep it biblical. And so this is a very important aspect of things that people don't think about. People think, okay, he has the money, he can afford to do it. But yeah, have you ever thought about giving your way to broke? Watch the show, I Blew It. You'll see. People literally give themselves to be broke. A lot of times when you listen to people, which when we're speaking about all manner of greed, when that pastor was saying, how does a miracle translate to Jesus, to GDP? We spoke about all manner of greed, and we addressed that whole entire thing. You see, that there is a level of greed to begging. You've thought about that, right? Yeah. There are those ones, like you see, have you been in like a Joburg? I know them to be in Joburg mostly. They will follow you and you will ask you for 50 cents or something change, and you say, I don't have. And then, not that you don't have change, you have change, but you haven't reserved anything that you can spare. There's a difference, right? But then he will repeat, no maguncane kanjani. And then you say, I don't have. And then he adds another one. I haven't eaten in the morning since morning. I don't have. It becomes, you become numb. You become numb to saying no, to a point where even a genuine plea, you won't even hear. You can become numb. You can grow numb to people begging and people asking, because it's been done so much that it just doesn't mean anything. Because I told him I don't have, but somehow he asks for the second time and the third time, because I don't know. What do you think change is? It's what do you think it is? You asked me the first time, I said I don't have. And then you ask the second time, what are you saying? What are you saying? You guys remember when I used to stay in the CBD? I once said on a live stream, there were some boys that used to really, I stopped them. I said, don't make me lie. Okay? Yes, I don't like it. You see, the sun is doing its thing, so don't mind the lighting changing. I said, don't make me lie. I told you I don't have it, meaning I don't have it in my budget. I don't have you in my budget. You're an adult. I had to give him a whole lecture because I knew his game. He wasn't necessarily homeless. He ran away and whatnot. And someday it slipped out of his tongue that I had gone home. I'm like, whoa, what are you doing here? This is a hustle for you. So I stopped him. I stopped him and I lectured him, and it stopped. So there is a level at which, so you see that begging that you encounter with those kids that would just be in your ear. Yeah. You see, next time you ask money from someone, think about that. You see that? Yeah, think about that one. It's very important you have the proper context. Help has a weight on it. Okay, now that we've put that aside, just I thought it was an important lesson just to have on the side. Help has weight to it. And the Bible shows you that one can get tired of it. Okay? It can become a thing. To a point where when one particular centurion who was not Jewish, when he does something in the book of Acts, it is something that is very well highly noted. Luke even writes a whole thing to say, hey, this man was very dedicated in his giving towards the Jewish community. He says it very clear. Why? Because it meant the continuous aspect of it has a weight. Now that we understand that, Just in case you had never been told or you've never thought about it, think about it. There's a weight that comes with help or giving, or there's a weight. All right. Brings us to this subject matter here. These people have no concept of what I just said. See, the whole premise of this video is for me to show you this here, that you might have thought about, like, you don't like that, but you never thought about it. You never thought, why don't you like it? There's a weight to generosity. There's a weight to it. And that weight can wear you out. That's why the Bible instructs not to get tired. Now, in Tsekeleke's situation here, you have a people that don't know the weight of what I'm talking about. Why? Because they've never been in the position of giving help a day in their life. If you've ever been in a position of giving help, you'll understand that weight. Them ninjas over there, they don't know nothing about that. They don't know nothing about the weight of help, the weight of giving help. That's why they will sit on the man and nag him. But people like this, who've never, ever been on a position of help, no, them giving it, they don't have a concept of this. Now, this is what's important. When you see that, they don't have a concept of it. That's what we call entitlement. Entitlement comes when a person has no perception of the weight of doing. You see, they've crossed a line. There's a line they've crossed. They do not perceive. You know, when a person literally budgets off of your money, you go to work, you do what they budget off of you. Like they'll even tell you, they are not even ashamed. One person once did it with me. I cut them off. Ha! I think they still think we close like, huh? No, it's not. That's something they said way back 2014 and way back 2014, 2015, somewhere around there. And they said this thing ignorantly. And when they said it, I said, oh, okay. This fella has no perception of what it takes to do because he doesn't know it. He's never done it. Maybe he's done it once, you know? Those people that keep a record of when last they do the good thing. you know that group. They can literally tell you, I did something for you last week. So the last time you did anything good was last week. See, God, it's not in their nature to doing it. So as a result, they have to keep a record of the one time they did it. Because they don't perceive it. You see, they are not praying for you. If they were praying for you, in when you do the help, you see the way the prayer comes in. If they were praying for you as you give the help, they would understand the weight of what they're asking. You see, labor is something. It steals from you. At the same time, it gives something. It's something that a thief, a criminal does not understand. You see, that's why they will value what they take from a person without understanding the labor of going to get that thing. You know? Have you seen how we treat a phone when we just bought it? You know, they say you must charge the phone for like 12 hours. Nobody does. The day you get it, that's the day it gets the most use. You literally fall asleep with the hand in. Why? Because the labor has given something. Labor has paid off something. You see, if someone is helping you, keep that person in prayer. In so doing, God will give you the conviction of what I am talking about. You will say, yeah, you see when Paul says, you know, and if any is spiritual, this God will reveal unto you. You see what I just said? God will reveal it to you. There is a weight to give it. That's why people leave church and the first thing they cry about is all the money they say they gave to church. Because they didn't give it. It was not given in the right weight. So the weight that was meted to that giving was wrong. they extort it, they attach it to blessings you don't see, and all those kind of things. And so later on, when that person leaves, they have no record of why they did what they did. It kind of messes them up, and now they become screaming heads over the subject matter of what, because it was that weight, it's unjustifiable now. That weight they felt, they relieved themselves every time they did it. There are certain churches that make their giving a center point so much that it causes people who don't have anything to give to feel like they have to a point where it's a whole thing. So that person doesn't give because they have. They give, be very careful how you structure your giving and all of that type of stuff, because there is a weight to it. There is a weight to money. There are people, you might have taken money and you gave it somewhere. Now, you didn't even perceive you gave that money with the wrong motive. You had attached you had attached something to you giving that thing, right? And so now when you gave it and there was no response, like, not that they were not thankful, they were very thankful. They might have thanked you like the whole week, the whole month. But because you had a certain perception about that giving, and it didn't meet back. It wasn't meet back. That thing that you thought of that money when you sent it. And so because you didn't get it back, you start to, and you will know this is the case when you start recollect every single time you're talking to someone and someone tells you about maybe someone that was disloyal or betrayal, when the subject matter of betrayal and what, if you still mention that situation, you see that you might be suffering from the very same thing. You might be suffering from the fact that you gave the weight you gave it, having attached a certain mind to it. You had a thought that was wrong about what you did. Now, you might have also given to someone who does not understand that they're standing in the gap for you. So they don't even perceive the weight of which you stand in when you do that good deed. Now, you are heartbroken and touched because now this person does not reciprocate the way you perceive they ought to. Can't you yourself, you ignored certain signs that would have told you that this person has never helped anybody. And so as a result, they don't understand the weight that you go through in order to do it. So the idea, the act in itself, it doesn't get received the way you. We all have a role. Tsekeleke, my advice to Tsekeleke is, you see those people, they are not praying for you. If those people were praying for you, they would understand, because God will show. You start, and it's not saying thank you 100 times. It's that there is a consideration to the person who's helping you. These people don't care. Like they nonchalant don't care. If don't care as a person, you can put Tsekeleke's family on them. Like they would take even the last dime. They take the last time. Why? Because that person has never helped. That person, that's what we call entitlement. It's when a person lives at your expense. It's Ricky, I'll get back to you guys.